Hey friends, welcome back to the Homestead. We are back in the shop on this absolutely beautiful fall day. And as you can see, we've got some walls that are full of tools. So I got all my, my hand tools and the things that I'm accessing frequently hung up on the wall. I've also got some accent lighting that we've put in, and it's given it a nice little bit of a glow. It's actually just some RGB strip lighting. It's really easy to install, and yes, I know some of you think that multicolored RGB light strip stuff, it's quite juvenile. Well, how many of us every once in a while aren't quite a bit juvenile? No, really. The reason why I chose the RGB is because you can actually adjust the temperature of the lighting. For instance, if we were to just go straight white with this, you can see it turns a little bit blue color, and that's because the different temperature, daylight outside, fluorescent lights inside, and it's just not matched up quite right, and so it kind of gives it a little bit of a blue tinge. But what I can do is I can actually reduce the blue that's in the light, change the color temperature just a little bit, and it gives it a nice, a little bit warmer glow, more like an incandescent light. But then, you know, every once in a while, if you want to get a rave going or party atmosphere in the shop, you know, just hit that button and boom, 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 right? You know. But anyways, I digress. Having a little bit of fun here. But so anyways, I've got a little bit more of this lighting to put up, and I just thought I'd take you along and show you what we're doing, show you kind of how we're bringing some atmosphere into the shop, making it just a little bit more enjoyable, something fun to have, and something more appealing to look at instead of just a dirty, dingy old wood stud wall behind me. So what I've done here is I just took a piece of 1x and I ripped it down to a 1/2 inch wide and then screwed it up on that seam in between the pegboard and the plywood that I've put up on the wall. And then that was just wide enough for me to be able to attach that little RGB strip lighting to, and it's just stuck up there with adhesive. Now, not all RGB lighting is created equal, and it's really hit or miss as far as which ones you find are going to work well. The one that I found here recently has worked really well, and I'm rather impressed with it. It's actually got the official 3M adhesive on the back, which seems to stick a whole lot better than the other cheap Chinesium stuff that they've got. So I actually had to splice together a couple of pieces. This was some old RGB lighting that I had used in my son's room and I had left over, and it wasn't quite long enough to reach all the way around and then back over to the beginning. So I spliced in a piece of that, and that adhesive lasted all of about 20 minutes sticking up there. I ended up having to go back with some hot glue, some high temperature hot glue, and put it on there. I used the high temperature because I didn't want this stuff heating up and then melting the glue and it falling down again. So it seems to be holding pretty well. I've left it on all day just to test and see if it would heat up, and it seems to be doing really well. So, but then also I had some other issues with some of the LED lights went out on the other stuff, and I don't understand what the big difference is. It seems like it's all the same stuff, but I guess components matter when you're digging into little parts like that. So we're gonna stick the good stuff up right here. This is not quite 8 foot. This is about a 7.5 or 6.5, 7 foot stretch. So we'll do that same top and bottom on this run, and then we'll just run a wire between the two. It's gonna be 4 wires that we connect. So you've got a ground, a red, a green, and a blue. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take off some of these tools so I'll have room to reach in there and won't be knocking things down. I will say that the pegboard, when you're pulling tools out, it is kind of easy to knock those off, so I'm going to have to find a way to secure those a little bit better. There we go. This guy will be in the way. All right, so now we got all that out of the way. Like I said before, not all LED strip lights are created equal, but this little kit that I got on Amazon, I'm actually fairly impressed with it. It's the actual 3M adhesive on there, and all the lights are working. The connection points are really easy to work with and seem to be able to solder really well. And you can cut all of these down to size as necessary. So stretch out what you need, and then every place where there's a little scissor or this little 12 volt and GRB connection point, you can actually cut it right there, and it won't affect the system. But then that's also the solder point, so you can connect multiple strips together, or you can solder on some wires and extend it to another location, so that if you want to have lights up top and on bottom like what we're doing, we'll be able to do that fairly easily. So we'll just take this guy, kind of line it up. I've just got a little clamp I'll stick on there just to hold it in place while I stretch it out, just as a helping hand. There we go. Just stretch this out so it'll just set right there on the top, and I'm going to wrap it around the end if it lands in the right spot, and pull it back the other direction. I think that would be ideal. Ideal. I do believe that would be ideal. It's awful nice having all my tools where I can find them easily, conveniently, accessible. This one out to how far we want it to go. About right there. And that'll be about perfect. So we'll just go ahead and cut it right here on this line, just like that. And then we'll sticky it down into place. Now you don't want to take the entire sticker off this whole thing. You just want to go a little bit at a time. Otherwise, it'll make just a giant mess of things. I'm just working my way down, keeping it as much in the center of my trim piece here as I can. Just running right along there. Almost there. Here at the wall plate, this might be a little bit interesting. There we go. Now, one of the things that you want to make sure of when you're plugging these things in is you've got a little arrow, usually that's on these connection points, and that's going to go to the side that has 12 volt. And as long as those are connected in the right spot, we should see some white light. Just like that. Look at there. It's like it was made for that or something. Amazing. I like that a lot. I like that a whole lot. Alright, so now what we have to do is we have to connect this top row of lights to this bottom row of lights. All right, so what I have here is just some 4-conductor security wire. This is what I used on my son's room when we put up his lights, so it should work just fine here. And we'll run behind the wall, drop it down here and pull it out, and then I will just splice this together on the bottom, plug it into the bottom lights, and Lord willing, everything should work out just like it's supposed to. And it sounds like Papa just came back with the tractor, so let's go see how he's doing. Ooh, well, hey, got a little bit of bush hogging done, huh?
Got bush hog hollow side of the property done.
Good job. You look tired. Did I wear you out today?
No.
Harvey, you stayed down.
Farming's hard.
Hard work.
Sun up to sundown.
Yep.
Like work.
All right, back to it. And this is the guy that needs to be soldered on there. I'll just take and we'll touch that little piece of copper and we'll touch that solder to it and it'll melt it down on there. There we go. That's on there good and tight. Last one is the blue. All right. Now, if we did everything correctly, we should be able to plug in our power supply right there on this end, and it'll light up both. So plug in, the arrow is pointing towards the 12-volt side, and then power. You like it? All right, well, there you go. Leave it to me to make something simple more difficult than it needs to be. The power wasn't making it all the way through all of the LEDs. It was getting too much voltage drop by the time it got up to here. So what I ended up doing is splitting the power between the lower light bar and the upper one, and that seemed to help out tremendously. So all right, friends, well, that's about all the time that we have for this video. It's pretty typical of me to think that I can get something done when it takes twice as long to do it as I would expect. But anyways, we still got a little bit of a trim work to put up on there, but that'll have to be for another day. Just gonna put maybe like 1.5 inch piece of wood, just some trim to go and hide all the little LEDs. That way we just see a nice glow coming out from behind it. We did run into a couple little problems with the voltage drop, so we don't want to link too many of these LED lights together apparently, or we start losing some of the coloration. But I just split that up over the two different legs of the little power supply there, and that seemed to help fix the problem a lot. But yeah, I think it's looking good. It gives a nice glow, a nice ambiance, brightens up the shop area a little bit, makes it a little bit more enjoyable area to work in, and maybe if I keep it an enjoyable area, it'll stay a little bit cleaner and remain enjoyable, because I hate walking into a messy barn where I can't find anything. But I think that I won't have trouble finding my tools when they're sitting right out there, easy to spot. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for coming back to this channel, and if you liked this video or found it informative or entertaining in any way, hit the thumbs up. Let me know what you liked about it down in the comments below, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, feel free to subscribe and see more of what we have going on here on the homestead. There is definitely a lot going on all the time, and if you want to hit the little bell down at the bottom, that just turns on notifications so that YouTube will send you a ding or let you know when I've uploaded a video, which is usually a couple, 2 or 3 times a week, depending on how much I have going on. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you guys on the next video.